I've been gone for a while, but I'm finally back with a review. This inside the box in my hands is the world's first all-metal ultralight laptop, Geekom X14 Pro. I know you might have never heard of the Geekom brand before or might have only heard of their mini computers, but this laptop is truly worth reviewing. Let's see if this laptop can rival the MacBook Air or Neo with its thinness. Now, I want to get the unboxing out of the way and quickly show you what you get with the laptop. Out of the box comes the laptop itself, a 60-watt gallium nitride charger, and a braided charging cable. But what really caught my attention among the items in the box is this. A Geekom USB-C hub also comes alongside the laptop. As you know, since portability and thinness are prioritized in these types of laptops, brands generally don't include many ports. It wouldn't even be too wrong to say that this has become a trend alongside MacBooks. Geekom has solved this problem by adding a high-quality USB hub to the box. On the hub, there are two USB 3.0 ports, one HDMI port, one USB-C PD port. This PD at the end stands for power delivery, which means you can charge this device via USB-C and one Ethernet port. I have to say, it feels quite premium in the hand due to both its weight and the material used. Now, the first thing I noticed while taking the device out of the box is how light and thin the laptop is. Its weight is 2.2 pounds, which is exactly 999 grams, and its thickness when closed is only half an inch, or 1.2 centimeters. For reference, the 13-inch MacBook Air M5's thickness is 0.4 inches, or 1.13 centimeters, and its weight is 2.7 pounds, or 1.23 kilograms. So as you can understand from this, the Geekom is a tad thicker than the MacBook Air, but much lighter. The second thing you notice is its texture. It has a magnesium alloy chassis that feels very soft and high quality. These soft lines on the chassis have also significantly increased the ergonomics of the device. So, there is no physical aspect of the laptop that would bother you while using it. As you know, it is hard to open many Windows devices with one hand, and manufacturers on the Windows side don't pay much attention to this. Do I care about this? I don't care much, but if you're wondering, the device can easily be opened with one hand. If we look at the ports found on the laptop, on the left side we have one HDMI 2.0 port, two USB 4 ports up to speeds of 40 gigabits per second, and a power indicator light. On the right, we have a USB 3.2 Gen 1 port up to speeds of 5 gigabits per second, a 3.5mm jack, and a camera switch. It is especially good to have the USB-A port on the right. I suffer quite a bit from its absence in other laptops. You know that many wireless mice still use a USB-A dongle, so when I want to plug in a mouse or a portable hard drive, this port makes my job quite easy. Of course, while saying this, I also have to remind you that the main focus of this laptop is portability. I know it sounds a bit funny to mention having USB-A as a plus when compared to gaming laptops, but in every laptop whose purpose is portability and thinness, I will continue to praise this for a while longer. On the top right of the keyboard layout, there is a power button that also acts as a fingerprint reader. It works very fast. The screen turns on less than 1 second after touching it, but unless the angle of your finger lands directly on it, it can have a bit of trouble reading your fingerprint. I also like the power light on the left. It glows orange while the laptop is charging, and white when it's full. When the charger is plugged in but the laptop is off, it blinks white with a fitting breathing animation. Now let's move on to the screen. When we open the lid, we are welcomed with a 14-inch OLED screen. Now, I will say the exact price of the laptop at the end of the video, but I really like that they used an OLED screen despite the affordable price. Normally, I prefer mini LED over OLED. I say this in most of my videos, but from what I see in the comments, the majority does not agree with me. Therefore, I'm just gonna say that having an OLED screen on a laptop at this price point is very good, and move on. It has a 2880 by 1800 resolution screen with a 120Hz refresh rate, and it can display 100% of the DCI P3 color gamut. If you don't know, here's what this last part means. If you are doing work that requires color accuracy, like video and photo editing, you can look at the color gamut percentages on the screen side when comparing two laptops. The higher this value is, the more colors the screen can show in that color gamut, meaning the colors are more accurate and saturated. Also, the screen has 450 nits of brightness. Honestly, it might be one of the best screens I've seen for a laptop. It is sharp, its colors are vivid and accurate, and it's also very fluid thanks to the 120Hz refresh rate. Even though it's 2026, most rival laptops in this segment still have a 60Hz refresh rate, so it stands out from its competitors on this front as well. We see the advantage of it being OLED abundantly. Colors are very vibrant, there is no light bleeding at the edges at all, and the contrast created thanks to the blacks being able to completely turn off is wonderful. Covering not just sRGB but the entirety of DCI-P3 is very good for this price. As a small minus, due to the maximum brightness being 450 nits, the screen can remain a bit dark in outdoor use, and although there isn't much glossy surface, it can create a noticeable glare. Other than this, I have no complaints about the screen. On the keyboard and touchpad side, I want to say this. The feel of the keyboard is quite good. It would have been great if the key travel, meaning the keyboard's key movement distance, was a tad bit more, but there's nothing that will upset you while typing in daily life. The backlighting can be turned on with the F1 key and switched between a few preset brightnesses. There is a detail here that I love very much. We can toggle the transition between function and multimedia keys by pressing the bottom function key once, and thanks to the light here, we easily understand which mode we are in. It's a very good addition compared to other premium laptops. However, there are two minor problems. Pressing the F4 key can disable the trackpad. This is a nice thing, but since a light doesn't turn on here as well, it can be a bit confusing when you unknowingly hit the button. Similarly, there is no warning light on the F8 key that mutes the sound. Other than these two small issues, I quite like the keyboard. Now let's move on to the touchpad. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be optimistic here. The touchpad is quite bad. The fact that physical clicking is provided only in the bottom corners instead of the entire touchpad surface makes usage difficult. It takes time to get used to the position of the buttons or using it just by tapping. This situation also makes selecting text difficult, because after a certain point it stops pressing the button, which leaves the selection halfway. If you're more of a mouse user, this won't be an issue for you. Despite this, the texture and feel of the surface are nice. This is one of my few criticisms regarding the laptop. Coming to the performance of the device comes with an Intel Core Ultra 9 185H processor, the processor's integrated Intel Arc GPU, and 32 GB of LPDDR5 RAM. The processor here actually came out in December 2023. Even though there is a Core Ultra 9 processor in the configuration we have, there is also a model of this laptop that has a Core Ultra 5 and a 1TB SSD for $200 cheaper. For the CPU, we got the scores you can see on the screen. I didn't see any thermal bottlenecks here. In the 10 Geekbench tests we did back-to-back, the device showed quite a stable performance with the score getting even higher as they went on. Even though its processor is 2 years old, I can say it performs really well when compared to its similarly priced alternatives. You can see the graph of the Geekbench scores I got back-to-back on the screen. Also, I will add the scores of rival laptops for you to compare. To summarize, there are no thermal slowdowns, and at the same time, when compared to its similarly priced counterparts, the CPU performs quite well despite being 2 years old. And when we switch to the integrated GPU, we got the scores you see on the screen in Geekbench 6. I will also add the scores we got in 3D Mark Time Spy and Steel Nomad Lite, and the scores of rival laptops to the screen. Also, to determine the performance in Adobe programs, I did Puget Bench tests as well. The results are like this. My experiences with the laptop also pretty much match these scores. Thanks to its 32 GB of RAM, even when a heavy file full of effects and layers is open in Photoshop, I didn't experience much of a problem regarding fluidity. In Premiere Pro 2, it is quite sufficient for basic level edits and full HD projects. However, we couldn't do the After Effects test. I couldn't understand if it stems from the benchmark tool we used or a hardware inadequacy, but the benchmark tool constantly crashed. That's why I won't be able to say anything definitive on the After Effects side. In summary, for photographers, motion designers, and graphic designers, it's a great device in terms of ease of transport, but not having an SD card reader on the device or on the hub that comes out of the box can be considered a minus. Now, let's move on to the gaming side. Since the laptop has an integrated GPU, we know that its purpose of use is generally not playing games. But from the perspective of playing games occasionally, for example during lunch, when dropped to 1200p resolution, it's a quite sufficient device for playing games at a basic level. You can see the FPS I got in various games on the screen. By the way, as I mentioned in the news video I published most recently, Intel will soon bring XeSS technology to Arc integrated GPUs as well. With this, FPS values here will increase even more. Coming to temperature and fan noise, its temperatures are at a similar level with other devices in the segment. The fans can run a bit too loud momentarily, but this doesn't last long and doesn't create a heating issue that will affect performance. On the storage side, the device has a 2TB M.2 PCIe Gen 4 SSD. The crystal disk mark results are also on the screen. Alongside the screen, this is where the device is strongest. In the middle of the RAM crisis in the industry, having both a 2TB M.2 PCIe Gen 4.0 SSD and 32GB of LPDDR5 RAM in this price range is very good in my opinion. Also, as we see in the Crystal Disk Mark tests, the performance of the SSD in the laptop is very good. Let's come to the battery and charging time. In the tests I did, it took about 2.5 hours for the laptop to charge from 0% to 100%. While watching YouTube videos at 1080p resolution and 50% volume level, the battery lasted about 7 hours and 15 minutes. Web browsing tests also gave a similar screen time. I had gotten similar or lower performance in rival laptops as well. I can comfortably say that it won't leave you stranded in day-to-day life. We've come to camera and audio quality. The device has a 2-megapixel 1080p resolution webcam. The fact that the webcam can be closed with the switch on the right side is a nice detail in terms of privacy. Artificial intelligence features like blurring the background, adding eye contact, and automatic zooming, depending on the image, are also present at the same time. Even though the image quality is not perfect, it is more than enough for meetings in my opinion. The speakers do not have much depth, and it must be said that the audio quality remains average. Even though we can control various parameters with the DTS software that comes inside the laptop, you can't get rid of the tinny sound. However, the microphone is really good. Even when there is a certain level of keyboard noise in the background, the voices are very clear.
This is the camera and microphone test of the Geekom X14 Pro. We think the camera performance is quite good, while the microphone performance is average.
I liked the sound quality of the microphone quite a bit compared to other laptops. As for the software side, the device comes out of the box with Windows 11 Pro. While many models in the market come with the Home Edition, this is a nice plus. Besides Microsoft's mandatory applications, the only software coming pre-installed are Geekom's own Control Center and the DTS audio software. Compared to other manufacturers, the software is incredibly minimal, which is always welcome. From Geekom's software, you can add effects to the microphone, remove background noises, and adjust the keyboard lights and battery performance modes. Also, features like cleaning junk files and data transfer from an old computer are offered. A simple but quite sufficient software experience. Now we have come to the most important point: price. Right now, you can buy the product from Geekom's own site or from Amazon, which I will link in the description and comments. But if you take advantage of the coupons on Geekom's own site, the price of the Core Ultra 9 and 2TB storage model we reviewed becomes $1,099. And the version with Core Ultra 5 and 1TB storage is $949. Furthermore, 16-inch models with the same specs, named X16 Pro, also have price tags of $1,214 and $899 respectively. Considering its features, I can say it's a great device for this price. Since it's the first laptop the company produced, it has some areas that could be improved upon, like the touchpad, but for a first-generation product, with the lightness, screen, storage, and RAM put forth alongside many more features, it has become a quite good laptop in my opinion. You can check out the laptop in more detail from the links in the description or comments and purchase it if you wish. So what do you think? Do you think it can be preferred over the MacBook Air or Neo? Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If not, feel free to dislike it. Stay mysterious until the next video. Take care and bye.